Alright, so this is episode 9 of Shadow's House Season 2. A little bit of a recap. We found out the identity of Master Robe. It was Maryrose, and now I assume we are going to get to talk to Maryrose more, and perhaps we get to continue learning about her reasons on why she's doing the things that she's doing. And it was a nice little conversation between before Maryrose reveals herself, when she was talking to Kate about the whole special morph, and that and like perhaps some of the reasons why Kate might have not told her peers about it, whether she doesn't trust them enough, or she feels like she's better than them, or something like that. So it was an interesting thing, and I had also thought that perhaps this was also, it could be true to Kate, but it could also be some sort of projection that Maryrose was having, but we'll just have to see it. I was gonna say we'll have to see it when we see it, but we'll just have to see. But I do have my full-length reaction up on Patreon, which you guys can check out in the description down below. Other than that, let us get started. I don't know if I said that I've seen the full music video for this one now. It has such a nice breakdown with like the tap dancing and like the electronica that's like mixed in with it. And then after that there's like all these like instrumental solos, with like the horns and everything. It's very nice. It made me like the opening just a little bit better. I still vastly prefer the ending. Alright. Alright, that's why she's so tall. Louise's, Maryrose's suit power has physical effects, which she... Is it similar to yours then, if that's the case? She's coming out here with crutches, dude. Oh my god. Ah. Oh. You gotta consume. You gotta consume the living doll. Become one, whatever. Diffusion ceremony. Okay. John hears that and he's like, whoa! Shadows can do that? And then Sean is over here like, oh, fuck. Awareness is snuffed out. Mm-hmm. Sean... Well, of course. Now he's like, oh man, the consequences! Mm-hmm. Oh, was that? Okay. Ah. Okay, that's understandable. And it's filled with traps. But even after you get all that past that trap, the door is still closed, or... Oh! It's a big fucking trap this whole time. Oh shit! True grandfather's wing. Or, what if we just build a really long rope? So much flair. He stood by and watched. Okay. Lives were lost. Uh-huh. Understandable, you've become jaded. You know, it's just like Barbara and Barbie. Mm-hmm. What is she, your successor? Hmm. What if it were you? Uh-huh. What would you do? Would you cause chaos as well? Oh. Oh, she's giving them all hugs. Oh, shit. Damn, dude. I suppose they did say we did get, we've become muted. Were they going to expose you? Oh, shit. Of all the times John's over here like, who's not cleaning? She's such a good actress. Yep, they're extremely desperate. Okay. 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 In that moment, it's very menacing, but like... The fucking pose on Maryrose. What is John? It's... Oh! Ooh. Of course, they're still... Oh! Oh no, the John punch. Oh, that's interesting. She's over like, thanks for the suit, bro. Got a whole army with me now. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, don't let your enemy know. I suppose they've never seen it before, how only they're living to— Holy shit, that is... Don't you think this is making quite the amount of... Because you just used your John punch. I was gonna say, isn't this quite a lot of noise? Understandable. When she said that, I was like, yeah, I suppose, you know, you decide how you die and all that. Well, you are an indoor girl. One devastating truth. How great a gap in strength. Oh my god. Is that whose name I've just suddenly forgotten? I'm thinking of Eric for some reason. Who is Edward? Edward Eric. Former warden. Please hold on to a long-term perspective? Alright. She would fail. Even considering her suit fought. Okay, then why, you know, why does she get an invitation? Who used to excel? Is that a whole ass fucking rose in their hair? What happened to her after we became adults? So he knows of... Of course, of course. A rebellious element? Oh. Damn, dude, this man's using his big brain right now. Of course, of course. I guess all gotta have an enemy to focus on. Box of competition? Is extinguished. Oh, is this what it is? Oh. Failure means death. Oh, so is this what we saw? What is it? Was this what we saw towards the end of season 1 when I forgot who was it? It was Kate, right? Kate came in and she had seen this box before. I'm afraid that it's unlikely to succeed. A failed fusion reduces the evaluation, but that is of little concern. Someone inside? Was this man opening up? It's a very dark episode, this episode. I legit can see, like, barely anything. So they're dead? Where your fate shall lead. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was a failure. Alright. Cool. Very, very interesting. A very nice overall episode. I really like that. And we've got to see the adult wing again. Jesus, we haven't seen that in a while. But it is nice to be able to see, you know, Edward after having the fucking Starbearer just complain about him. Well, specifically Barbara and Barbie. You know what? This opening again, this ending again, just reminds me, like, what of the relationship between, what is the title for the next episode? The value of friends! Alright. It kind of makes me wonder, like, what is Barbara thinking about this whole ordeal? You know, with the thought of Maryrose becoming... My god, what the fuck's wrong with my hair? With Maryrose getting an invitation and, you know, going into the adult house and all that. So it's an interesting concept that, you know, I hope that we will see, consider that we have made the connection that Maryrose and Barbara debuted together, so of course they know each other. So it'll be interesting to see that, but until then I'm just gonna go back to the fucking center. And Jesus. God damn! Okay. Alright, so that was episode 9 of Shadow's House Season 2. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys. For me, I thought that this was a pretty nice episode. You know, we've got to learn the reason why they're doing this, Maryrose and Rosemary, and we get to see the desperation that they're essentially having, and like what Rosemary said, you know, they've become jaded over the years, and especially after all these years of not being able to make allies. And yeah, well, from what Maryrose was saying, you know, she's been trying to do all this and try to actually gather allies, you know, through her acts, but then the whole invitation happened, and that makes them even more desperate. And so because of that, they did all of this bigger things, you know, with the Scorches attack, and it seems like they were also behind the first Scorch attack, which I suppose that's why fucking Rosemary was the one who was attacked and got suit sickness. So we learn about Maryrose's power, and that it's similar to Kate's, and that it's as a physical effect and she can control it at a long distance, but the thing with her is that she's able to turn the suit into Scorches. If I believe that's right, because from what Kate had gathered later on, is that she was able to create all these Scorches that they saw around them, despite the living dolls doing a lot of cleaning a lot of the times, you know, so there shouldn't be that many Scorches, but she had gotten all those Scorches from the suit that Kate had exuded, so she realized that, you know, people with high suit power like her and John are basically just creating more Scorches for her. She can just create more Scorches from their suit, is what I'm trying to say. So that was nice to learn more about Maryrose's suit power, but an also interesting note from Kate saying that if Maryrose has this strong of a power, then how strong are the adults? You know, how big are the gaps between the children and the adults? And through this conversation, the four learns from Maryrose that when you get the invitation, essentially you will have to go through a low fusion, and in this case, this is where the living doll or the humans will die and the shadows will take over their body, or at least their consciousness. You know, I assume they're see. What I understand from this is, if the fusion is correct, the body will become brain dead, and then the shadows will take over. Because they can't just be like dead, I assume, because like if they're dead, their organs not fucking working and they're going to rot. So like they're going to be brain dead, right? That's how the whole process works. Or if it works anyways, as we saw towards the end, they have 1 to 2 weeks in this cocoon, and if they don't blossom out of the cocoon, then I assume the shadow dies and the human dies as well. Cool. So, to gain a face, shadows extinguish a human life. The living doll's awareness is snuffed out. I was saying awareness. I'm just thinking brain dead, like, you know, their brain is fucking gone, they're not in control of their body anymore, but their whole body still work and functioning. And then the shadow steps into their body. Yeah, so in that case, it's like a point of no return. And it's also really interesting from after we got through all of this, and Kate and John essentially learn that, you know, they're still very much kids, and they've got outmaneuvered essentially by Rosemary, by Maryrose, who was giving them her final lessons. You know, 2 of her final, is it 2 or 3? Did she give 2 or 3 final lessons? What was the first one? Don't look down on people don't look down on people who've been here. Essentially, is what she was saying. The second one was don't show your enemies compassion. I think those were the two. I don't think there was a third one, because I believe we go past yeah, it was just two, and then after that we go and we hit. Oh yeah, so what I was saying with, you know, like that even Maryrose with all her powers had no choice but to give up on escaping from this house. Just how great a gap in strength is there between us and the adults. And that's interesting, and well, we go immediately back to Edward here, but we actually haven't seen suit power used by the adults, so it's since we're, you know, we're mainly following the kids, so we're really only seeing like them discovering the suit power and everything, but we still haven't seen the adults in action, so that's a really interesting note as well, that we, you know, we're just as lost as the kids in the kids wing. And also the whole thing of her like saying she just that Maryrose gave up on trying to get out of this house despite the power that she has. And what the other thing that she was mentioning was that after she went through that entryway, she had opened the door and she found out that it just leads off a cliff. And because of that, the only way to actually escape this house is through the grandfather's wing. I believe that's what it is. And, you know, that's the place that's like the most secure out of everything. So it's an understandable thing. It's a, you know, as what Maryrose said, it's a fucking prison, and the only way for you to get out is to go through the big fucking boss. So that was very nice. I had that stupid idea of what if we make a really, really, really long rope? Where would that lead us? You know, what is down this hole? How far is this fucking hole that is there? We really only saw the cliff. We didn't really get to see like the perspective of when you're standing there and you're looking outward. You know, the camera was pointing at the door and the cliff and where Maryrose was. I don't know why I'm trying to show you guys. I can literally just go over here. Hold on. Yeah, so it only showed us this perspective. Doesn't really show us the perspective of Maryrose and like what she's looking ahead. Like how big is this giant fucking gap? I mean, I know that there's like blackness down there, so, but like there has to be a floor in. What are we gonna do once we're down there? I don't know, but I'm just there has to be a bottom at some point. Okay, so moving on to Edward and his two Goonies, and we also saw another adult shadow. His name was Thomas, and we found out that he was a former warden, but now the job has been put over to Edward, as we've learned from Barbara complaining about him. And Edward has the idea that Maryrose is probably a rebel. You know, she's got a rebellious element, because it seems like he also knew her from before he got the invitation, because he said that, you know, before she had a high she had like a high score and whatever, but now he feels like she's failing on purpose, so then it makes them not want to give her the invitation. And so when he was saying like, oh, she used to have a high score, and he said, what happened after I became an adult? And it's just like, oh, that's interesting. But they're inviting her. I'm not sure who they are. Like, are the people on the third floor inviting her? Like, or is it Edward? I don't think Edward has the power, but I assume it's the, you know, it has to be the fucking top people inviting Maryrose specifically. But they're talking about how Maryrose is most likely going to fail this fusion, and which basically means that they're just going to send her to her death. It's kind of like an execution at this point, you know. Edward says if she does succeed, then what they can do is they can make her spill everything, and hopefully if she does spill everything, they can get, you know, they find this rebellious element, and then they'll gain great favor with Lord Grandfather, and perhaps they will get to the third floor. And also, we've learned about this in the last season, but it's nice to just have it emphasized again. But then again, this is Edward. He's always talking about how he wants to go to the third floor. But you know, we had that whole conversation between the on how the Starbearers are keeping things secrets because they don't want it to get out to the adult branch. I don't know what I'm saying. The adult branch. You know, they don't want to get it all out. And so it was either Sean or John. I assume it's Sean, who was just like, oh, it seems like there's this big play for power, for in Shadow's house, and it's even there with the adults as well. They're basically cultivating a lot of rivalry and competition in Shadow's house, that even when you become an adult, there's like the first, second, and third floor, and as what Edward is, he's ambitious, so he wants to get himself up to the third floor where everybody else is, well, where all the cool people are hanging out. But it was just nice for him to talk about his hypothesis about Maryrose being a rebel, and the idea that Kate was influenced by Maryrose on this, which I suppose that could be a reason why as well. That reminds me, I'm everywhere at this point, but I do like the idea that Maryrose has influenced Kate on this, since from what we've learned, because of the initial incident, Barbie got upset and she was trying to blame it on certain people, and then, Embolico stood up and she got sent to like the whole nightly shift about that. And the thing that somebody had said before was that Embolico was supposed to talk to somebody was supposed to talk to Master Robe back in season 1 during that nighttime incident, if I'm remembering correctly. And the anime didn't show that, but that's what they were, she was supposed to have a conversation with Master Robe at that time. So it was an interesting note that, from what Edward said, that Maryrose has been cultivating this in Kate for a while, albeit Kate has had the feeling of suspicion, because there is the chance that she is a special morph and that she remembers all of this, but the whole process of like the cocooning and like the green casket thing, if somebody could answer this, because again, I still don't really remember it. But I know that Kate has seen this before, hasn't she? When she went to go looking for Embolico, because she had to, sneak into this building, and so she had saw this, right? And then I remember Soot was coming out, and that was so I was reminded of that, and I was thinking, like, was somebody actually about to emerge from there, and that's, or was there just another fucking dead body, as what we've seen in this episode? As what Rosemary said, perhaps I've become muted to this. I've shed no tears anymore, because I just, we got that scene with Rosemary, and I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty sad. And then we got towards the end when they showed us the body of this dead person, who I'm not really sure if we're supposed to know who it is, or if it's just a random person or not. Not really sure. This whole episode has been really dark, and I literally cannot see like the upper half of the show. This is what it feels like to watch a fucking anime half blind, I suppose. Anyways, that's about it. If I have anything else to say, I will write it in the description down below. Thank you guys for sticking around, and I will see you guys in the next episode.